actually record that. All right, we are recording now. Okay, so everybody's good on the compounding spreadsheet. All right, so let's go ahead and would y'all prefer to start at? Okay, so would y'all prefer to start on the fractal strategy, or do you have more questions about the London breakout strategy? Which one? Because I want to make sure that this Zoom call is to help y'all, answer any questions that you have. Fractal. Okay. Anybody else? Fractal. Okay. All right. So yeah, we'll take a look at the fractal strategy then. So I'll go over it and try to pull up some setups, and then y'all ask questions. Y'all, and you can, if you have like, you can talk. Y'all can unmute your mic. You don't have to like type everything in. If you have a question, then you can unmute yourself and talk that way. This doesn't have to be like super formal or anything like that. So let me pull this up. And y'all have to bear with me. I seriously need a new contact, so I'm like barely making it. So y'all excuse me. Okay, so the pair that I looked at today was it was the Australian dollar and the Japanese yen. And I always on TradingView I always use Owanda as the exchange. But let me go ahead and add the indicators.
Real quick, when you're scalping, do you mark your support and resistance, or you just do the Bollinger Band and the RSI?
It depends. If I'm going for like more than 10 pips, or if I'm using like a higher time frame, then yeah, I'll mark out the support and resistance. That way I can know where's a good place to take profit. So yeah, you can do that if you know how to mark the chart. That's definitely always a good thing to do. So.
Can you also take a moment to brief us more so on the twin trading and stacking?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, let's.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I'm gonna answer every single question. So.
Okay.
No worries.
Take your time. Take your time.
All right, stuff and then. So we'll change these settings to 7:30. And then I know for some people it's harder for them to understand when the stock is telling them to buy or to sell. So this is always a good idea. For the blue line, you can change that to green if you want, if that helps you. And then that way, if the green line is on top, that means that it's a buy. If the red line is on top, then that means it's a sell. So you can go in and change the color of your lines if you want to, if that makes it easier for you. I like blue, that's just what I use, but you definitely can change the color. That way, it's a little bit easier for you to, just until you get it. So that's a good idea if you have a hard time deciphering whether, it's a buy or sell for the stock. And then we'll add the Bollinger Bands. And then change these to This is 20 and 3 on this one. And all of these settings are in, they should be listed in that pinned post. So if you have any questions about that, look there so that they'll be listed there. And then we'll add the fractal. No, let me see. I think I'm in the wrong account. Hold on. All right, here we go. All right, so this is the pair that I scout today. So generally, I like to only look at like maybe 2 pairs because I don't want to be looking at like 3 or 4 different charts. If if you want to, you definitely can do that. But I prefer to just look at the trend of 1 to 2 pairs, and I like for them to line up on the 4-hour and the hour. And if it lines up on the daily, that's even better. So I'll only scout if it's in a strong sell. I'll only scout the sells. But obviously, you can scout the buys and the sells. But me, just so that I don't get stuck in a trade, I always only trade with the trend. So that's definitely something to remember. But let's take a look at the 15-minute chart. And AJ was selling today. So let's see. Let me see if I can find the setup that I've got in. Okay, you see right here, this one was a good setup. Although the stock and RSI wasn't really where I wanted it to be. But as you can see here, the stock went, it crossed, and that red line went over the blue. So that always usually indicates that it's going to be a sell. So blue line on top is a buy, and if the red line is on top, that's a sell. And then fractal at the bottom, that's going to be a buy. Fractal at the top, that's a sell. All right, so let's look for a good setup where the RSI and the stock line up pretty good here. So all of these are good setups here. But if you're going like for 5 to 10 pips, these definitely will work. But let's see. Here was a good one. So we have the fractal on the bottom. Actually, this one was in the sell, so let's just look at the sales. And I would have to pull up my phone to see, because I really don't remember when I got in those trades.
Can you repeat, when you said the fractal is on the top, it indicates a...
That's going to be
a sale, okay.
Yeah. So if it's on the top, it's going to be a sell. So just think about it. If it goes all the way to the top, where else can you go? If you hit the ceiling, where else can you go? You can't go anywhere but down. So just think about the top Bollinger Band as the ceiling and the bottom Bollinger Band as the floor. So if you're on the floor, you can go up, So that's a good way to remember that as well. And in the video that I recorded for you guys, I did tell you that you can change the color of the Bollinger Band. So if that helps you as well, I'm gonna do this for y'all so y'all can see. So my top one, I'm doing red, and then the bottom one is gonna be green. And that way you can see if it hits there, then we know it's a sell. If it hits on the bottom, it's a buy. So you can set it up like this. And honestly, I don't know if you can set it up with those colors on MetaTrader 4, but you should be able to. I'm sorry, my daughter came in, so. All right, so let's take a look and see. Okay, this one was a good setup here. So the fractal was on the top, so that means it's going to be a cell, and the RSI is above the 70, and then the stochastic, it crossed. So as you can see, that red line is over the blue line. So that's all we're looking for. We're waiting for the fractal to form, and then we need to make sure that the RSI says that it is overbought, which means it's ready to sell. And then we want to make sure that the stochastic, the red line, is over the blue line. So those are the only three things that you're looking for. It's not too many things. That's why I think this strategy is so effective, because it's super simple and it doesn't confuse you. You know, a lot of strategies, they have so many different indicators, and it just ends up, you know, confusing you. But so here, you know, we had a fractal on the top, so that's the sell. Our RSI is above the 30, is above the 70, that's the sell. And then the stochastic cross right here, the red line is over the blue line, that's the sell. So as you can see, I would have got in. You can choose to, you can get into the next candle after the fractal. That's totally up to you. But I sometimes, it just depends. Sometimes I'll wait, you know, 2 or 3 candles. Sometimes it'll be that very next candle. I'll just start to see where the candle actually opens, you know, after that fractal. Because sometimes the fractal can, it can form on the top late. So it may not be until this 3rd candle where you actually see, you know, where you actually see that fractal, you know, come up. But so you could have got in on this 2nd candle and, you know, set a take profit of, let's see, if we would have got in here, we can take a look at this. All right, so if we would have got in on this 2nd candle, and we put a take profit of, let's see, we could have did 5 pips. That would be, probably 92. All right, so you can see that on this candle, it would have hit take profit already. So generally, for the most part, if your fractals are on the outside, it's gonna hit, as long as you don't try to go for too many pips, like especially if you're using the 15-minute chart, it's gonna hit take profit pretty fast. As long as your entry is good. Most of my trades, they hit take profit within 30 minutes or so. Sometimes it's within the next candle, but you just have to make sure you get your entry correct. Another thing you can do is you can wait until you could have got in and then just waited until the fractal formed at the bottom, which tells you that it's exhausted. It's exhausted the sell. So that means that it's going to buy again. So you could have got out, here where that fractal formed right here. So that's another thing you can do. Another thing, of course, is going to be marking out the support and resistance. So let's find another setup. Let's find something that has more of a movement. Because that one was pretty small, but let's see. Okay, here's a good one right here. All right, so we have a fractal at the top. That means it's a sell. Our RSI is above the 70. And our red line on the stochastic is above the blue line. So that is a perfect setup. So do you see how it just fell? Like you would have got your pips right there. Let's see how many pips that is. We would have got in. That's not okay. Yeah, so if we would have got in here, and then went all the way, even if we just got out here, that would have been 17 pips right there. So I like to take profit just because I want to enter my trades and then not have to watch the chart. But some people they're okay with just sitting at sitting looking at their phone. If you can look at the charts, then definitely take more profit. Take more pips if you want to. But if you wanted to do 10 pips, 10 pips would have been here. So as you can see, you would have hit take profit really fast. Even if you would have got in on this candle, let's see, if you would have got in on the third candle, you still would have hit take profit as well. So does everybody see, how to spot those setups? There's several. I don't use these ones in the inside, which you can see they do work. But for me, I just prefer, if it hits the Bollinger Band, you can use that one because it's pretty close. But like these little ones in here, I don't really like to use those. I mean, does anybody have any questions? Do y'all want to look at more setup? Or does anybody have any specific questions about the fractal strategy? You want to look at another pair?
Earlier in the chat, you were talking about the width. Like, I guess the wider it is, the more pips.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what happens when it gets really tight? Because I've seen that. Does that mean it's about to break out?
So here's a good example of that. Okay, so do you see how the Bollinger Band, it got wide right here? So do you see how big the move was? That's all it's telling you, that when the channel gets big, it's telling you that the move is going to be pretty big. And then as you can see here, it got really narrow. So it's just consolidating, and you'll see it broke out again here. So that's all it really means. When the channel is wide, it's gonna move, a lot of pips. And then when it's smaller, you'll see, just consolidation. But you still can trade those, I usually only go for the 10 pips or so. So, I mean, consolidation works just fine. Just make sure the fractal is on the outside or at least touching, pretty close. Because all of these places right here, you would have caught pips. So, you would have been good even if you took this setup. The stop and the RSI lines up, and on this candle you see how long that was, so you would have got your 10 pips. So yeah, it's really just making sure that every every indicator lines up. That's more of that's just more of a confirmation that okay, this is a good setup to take. And then next you just need to work on the entry. And I can say for the most part, there's rarely any times that my my trades haven't hit take profit. Like they usually always do. Every now and again I'll have some that'll take maybe like 2 hours or 3 hours, just depending on what the market does. But for the most part, everything usually hits within an hour, maybe like 30 minutes or so. As long as your entry is good, but of course it's always up to the market. It does its own thing. But any more questions? Does that explain? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. All right. Any more questions about the fractal strategy?
So as far as you looking on the higher time frames, is it the same? You're just looking for the fractals on the outside of the Bollinger Band?
Yeah. So it's basically when you're looking at the higher time frames, you're just gonna go for more pips. So it's gonna be the same thing. You'll just look for fractals that are on the outside of the Bollinger Band, and make sure everything lines up and you are good to go. And so I do want to point this out though, like this is on the 1 hour chart, and so you can see here the fractal is on the top, so that means it's a sell. The RSI and the stock line up, and so you can go for more pips because these little fractals inside, they're pretty much kind of invalid. Like yeah, you can trade them, but I don't, because sometimes they're not correct. So you could have got in on this next candle or even this third one here, and you could have wrote it all the way down. This is where you want to bring the support and resistance into play here. Just charting out your support and resistance, and that way you can know where's a good take profit when you're looking at the higher time frame. So does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Question here. Do you enter the trade within the 15 minutes that the candle has formed, or if the 15 minutes has passed, you don't enter that trade?
Okay. So are you saying can you explain just a little bit more? I'm just trying to figure out exactly what it means. I just don't understand the question.
So when we're actually looking at the charts, there's normally nothing to the right hand side like what we're looking now. So you're looking at the chart, and it's a 15-minute chart you're looking at, and you see a fractal on the candle that is to the immediate left of the one that you're looking at that is still being formed. Do you wait until that candle has been formed, or let us say 45 minutes has passed, The fractal is still there, but it's still 45 minutes later and no new fractal has formed. Can you still enter that trade?
Okay, so you're saying if the fractal form and like say you know you haven't gotten the trade here, but you're asking can you get in the trade here? Is that what you're asking?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. What you can, if you're gonna do that, I personally don't do that, but if you want to, what you have to pay attention to is gonna be the stochastic. So basically, what will happen is sometimes you'll see this blue line. It'll be further out than the red line. I can't find an example now because okay. Thank you. Close the door. Close the door. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Can you mute your mic? The TV in the background is kind of loud. No, thank you. I couldn't hear what you were saying, Jamika. Sorry.
Okay, no, it's okay. So if you're gonna get in the trade later, then you want to pay attention to the stochastic. A lot of times if it's selling this blue line right here, it'll be further down. It'll be a little bit ahead of the red line. So depending on how far out that blue line is, that's gonna basically indicate how much further you know it's gonna sell. So it's kind of tricky. You really got to know what you're looking for if you're going to get in the trade later. So for now, if you really are not familiar with how stochastic works, I would say definitely don't do that. Just wait for the next setup. You know, it's just better to be safe than sorry. But I mean, if you know how the stochastic works, you know, you're pretty familiar with that, then you definitely can, you know, get in the trade a little bit later. That's totally up to you. Because if you would have got in here, you know, you still would have been able to get some picks. So. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else?
Again, what I was gonna ask. As far as you getting confirmation from the indicators, what are your steps? Like, what do you go through when you're like, okay, this is a trade I'm about to get into? Like, everything is a green light that I have checked up on my list.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. So the first thing I always look for is the fractal, because it's basically like it's saying, hey, you know, this is about to sell, or this is about to buy. So the first thing I always look for is a fractal on the outside. And then after I see that fractal form up here, then I'm gonna look, you know, at my RSI and stochastic, and that's it. Like, honestly, you don't have to look at too many things. Just as long as that fractal is on the outside and your RSI and your stock line up, you're good to go. Like, I would wait for the second candle, you know, after that fractal. Second or third is totally up to you. And then, hey, get in the trade and set your take profit. Or if you, another thing you can do, if you want to get more pips, you can, as soon as it hit, as soon as you're like 5 pips into profit, you can set a trailing stop loss. And that way, your stop loss is in profit. And then, you know, you can just let the trade run until, you know, another fractal forms on the bottom. And then that way, if the trade does, you know, hit your stop loss, you still made money. You still got your 5 pips. So that's another way you can do that if you want to get more than the 5 to 10 pips. You can do it that way. I don't really do that. I just want to enter my trades and then forget about them pretty much. But you can do that as long as you make sure that your setup is perfect. Like, I'm telling y'all, this strategy is super simple, but it works. Like, it really does. As long as you make sure your entry is good and all of your indicators line up. Like, some people say, oh, you really only need 2 of those confirmations. But hey, if you have 3, then, you know, that's even better. So, you know, it is totally up to you, but that's just the way I like to do
And the stacking?
Hmm. Yeah. So what I will do, usually they always recommend, you just do twin trading, which means that you're only going to enter 2 positions. But
Right.
but honestly, this is a way that I would like make most of my money for the day. Like if I see a really great setup, like everything is lining up for me, and I know it's gonna, it's a really good setup. I will enter like I don't condone this, but you definitely can do it if you want. But I'll enter like 4 or 5 positions.
Oh
Um,
no.
and,
Okay.
and I make my profit for the entire day in just that one
Right.
trade. So
I believe it. I believe it.
I mean, because
Yeah.
if it's gonna hit take profit on one position, it's gonna hit take
Right.
profit on all of those. You're entering at the same. So
You're right. You're right.
so you don't. I'm not telling y'all, hey, go out and do what I'm doing. But sometimes if I really don't have a lot of time to scout during the day, then I will look for
Mhm.
a good setup, and I will make just whatever my goal is for that day. I'll make my money in just that one trade. So that's why I'm saying this strategy is good because um, when you're scalping, you can use a higher lot size,
Right.
and then you're gonna make more money using a higher lot size than if you're day trading. You're gonna need to leave some room for drawdown and pullbacks, all that kind of stuff. So,
Thank you.
of course. Anybody else have questions? Do y'all want to look at another pair and see if we can find some more setup?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, which one y'all want to look at?
Euro USD. That's a good one always.
Yeah, so that's another thing. If you're fairly new to trading, AU and EU are some good pairs to look at. But I definitely recommend like finding 1 or 2 pairs that you really like and study their movement. And then that way you can master that pair. And you literally only need 1 or 2 pairs and one strategy, and you literally can be a millionaire. Like it is really that simple. Like it's not as hard as people think. You just have to master one thing and not jump from this strategy to that strategy. When I first started, I remember, everybody would be like, "Oh, hey, there's this new strategy, and it's, giving you this much." Every new strategy, I would be like jumping here and there, and I was so confused and just all over the place, and I ended up losing so much more money, because I didn't stick to just one strategy. Um, and so I learned this strategy, and that's when I started making money, just focusing on just this. Later, I added, that London breakout strategy, but this is basically how I made, turned $100 to 5K. Like it was super fast. But let's take a look. Let me see. Okay, here we go. All right. Let's see. I didn't even pull up. Did anybody get in EU today? Did anybody scalp EU? Nobody. Okay. So let's look for a couple different setups here. So when we were talking about the channels being wide, you can see how it was wide here, and it was super skinny here. So it wasn't, there you couldn't get too many pips out of this. I wouldn't trade this right here, just because it's like this fractal, because it is on the outside, and I see that the band is getting bigger. Then you could have took this trade here. But these right here, they're too consolidated for me, so I wouldn't have taken any of those. But this is a good trade right here. Let's see. Actually, no. I wouldn't have taken this one just because the cross happened before. So I always like to put my crosshairs on the fracture, and then that way I can look to see where the stochastic and RSI is when that fracture was formed. Does that make sense? So I want to make sure that everything lines up. The cross happened before. And so as you can see right here how it dips in. So it was trying to cross again, but it ended up going back out. So I wouldn't mess with that one. But let's look here. So all of these are really good setups right here. This one, let's see. I'm trying to look for something that might be for me. Okay, here's one right here. All right, so this fractal is on the bottom, so that means that it would be a buy. And the RSI and stochastic is it's under that 30, so that means it's a buy. And then you can see the cross happen here. So the blue line is on top of the red line, and you can see the stochastic went up, and so did that the trade went up. So you could have got in on this candle, and on this candle you probably would have made your 5 pips if that's what you're going for. If you would have got in on this one. Okay, yeah, that one would have been like 11 pips. So you could have got your 10 pips out of there, or you could have just stayed in the trade all the way to this factor. So you could have gone here and loaded all the way up to here. So definitely, if you're gonna stay in a trade and not like really set a take profit, then make sure you're watching the stochastic, because as you can see here, like in this area right here, you can see it crossed several different times. So the market was really trying to figure out what it was gonna do. When it's inside of this space right here, these two lines, it's consolidation, and it's really trying to figure out what it's gonna do next. So just make sure you're careful if you're not gonna set a specific take profit, or just make sure you're trailing your stop loss in profit, and then just riding it all the way up to that next factor. So that's one there. I mean, this one right here is, I would have took this one just because I feel like it's close enough. You don't have to if you don't want to. But for me, I would have probably taken this one. It is outside the Bollinger Band, and for this one, you see, it would have taken over an hour to hit, your like 5 pips. Let's see. If you would have gotten here, yeah. So, let's see. Yeah. So it would have took about an hour to hit take profit on this one. But for the most part, most of your trades should go into take profit. They should hit take profit pretty fast. But that's another reason right here. It didn't go right underneath that 30. So that's a good example of why you really should make sure that every single indicator lines up. So I know this one is like right on top, but you know, it is definitely much better if it's underneath, and that way you know it has been oversold. So let's take a look at one more and see. Okay, and here's a cell right here. And so if you see like a fractal here and another fractal here saying the same thing, that's usually an indication that it's about to fall, like it's gonna drop hard. Like if you don't see another fractal the opposite way, so you see how we have two cell fractals here, that's a good indication that it's gonna fall hard. So you can look for those if you like. That's kind of more advanced, but yeah. So this one would have been good because the RSI is above the 70 and the stock, the red is above the blue. And so this right here is telling you, hey, stay in the trade because it's still gonna go down, and boom, you can see how far it fell. So this is always a good idea to when you see the Bollinger Bands start to get wide, then apply a trailing stop loss in profit, and then just ride it as far down as you can, or until you're happy, you know, with the profit. So that would have been an awesome trade to get in. Let's see how many picks that is, because I'm just curious. So if you would have gotten, let's see, on this candle and rode it all the way down until this factor, yeah, that was like 76 pips, 75, 76 pips, something like that. So that's awesome. And then, you know, of course, a trailing stop loss is as it moves further and further into profit, you just keep moving that stop loss down so that you're making more and more money, even if it, you know, has a pullback or, you know, it reverses. So, any more questions?
Yes, hi. I have a question.
Okay.
With stop losses, do you put the stop loss above the fractors, or you don't use stop losses, just trailing stop losses?
Yeah, so me personally, I do not a stop for the fractal strategy. I know somebody like basically the person who showed me this strategy, she would use a like if she's going for 5 pips, she would use a 10 pip stop loss. And I know some people are like, oh, that doesn't make sense, but if you count like how many times it actually hit stop loss, it's really not a huge deal. So if you're one of those people that you worry, you know, if you don't have a stop loss in, then you can definitely do it that way. So if you're gonna go for like 10 pips, then you can do a 15 to 20 pip stop loss. That's totally up to you. I never use one, and like I said, most of the time my trades always hit take profit. So that's not really something that you should have to worry about too much. Because remember, we're only going for 5 to 10 pips. So somewhere throughout the day, as long as you're trading with the trend, it's gonna hit take profit. Even if it takes 2 or 3 hours, it's gonna hit that 5 pips or 10 pips. You know, so that's not really something you should, you know, be too worried about. But if you want to use a stop loss, then you can definitely do. If you're gonna go for 5 picks, then you can do a 10 pick stop loss. But I mean, hey, you can test it out on demo just to see what works for you. But I personally don't use a stop loss at all. So.
All right, thank you so much.
Of course. Anybody else have questions?
Are you going to pin this video?
Yeah, I'll pin it. Yeah, and it should be in the shared files as well, in the shared media, so that way you can always access it there.
Great. Thank
But
you.
yeah, I'll pin it. But I'm trying to think. Yeah, and so I wanted to talk about risk management. I just want to make sure everybody is with scalping. Of course, you have to use higher lot sizes. Well, you don't have to, but I mean, if you trade how I trade, as y'all can see, I use pretty high lot sizes because it gets me to my goal for the day really fast. Like I only have to do maybe 2 trades, sometimes just 1, just depending on how many picks I go for. But make sure y'all are using risk management. That is going to be the only way that you're going to grow your account. I've had like several different accounts. I've been trading for over a year now, so I haven't even been trading that long. But I've been pretty successful. I've definitely failed a lot. I've definitely lost a lot of money. I think my worst trade, I would say, I lost like $2,400. And literally, y'all, I wanted to cry. Like I literally said, I'm not trading anymore. Like I was like, I'm done. I'm not trading at all. So losses are gonna happen, but that loss was, of course, that was because I over leveraged. So it was totally my fault. But risk management is definitely going to be the way. If you want to keep growing your account, if you're using risk management, you'll be able to take a few losses. So even if you mess up, that's totally fine. As long as you're using risk management, your account is still going to grow every single month. So I usually say, they usually tell you, okay, for every $100 you have, only use a penny lot size. But with scalping, I would do, for $100 account, I would do like maybe 3 to 5 cent pick lot sizes. But that's totally up to you. You know what you want to use. But personally, that's what I use. So just make sure y'all are using the risk management. And next week, I do want to. I believe I told a few people, but I started like $100 account because I just wanted to show you guys that it is possible to take a super small account and grow it. And it's going to be faster than you think. Let me actually pull up dailycompound.com just so y'all can see what compounding does for you. I don't know if I posted this before, and I don't know how many people actually, pulled it up, but I want to show y'all what the power of compounding is. So if you start with a $100 account and you're only growing your account by 5% every day, then and you reinvest 100%. So that means you don't withdraw anything. Hold up. I'm trying to, okay, there we go. Okay, so we do 100%. So that means we don't withdraw anything and we don't include the weekends. So this is just with starting with a $100 account. So this is saying if we start this initial investment of $100 on Friday, December 14th, by Friday, August the 23rd of next year, this should be your principal amount. That should be what your account grew to if you compound. So this chart will tell you, okay, on the first day you need to make $5. That's 5% of $100. So each day you'll see that it grows. The amount that you have to earn is a little bit more, and then this this column will tell you, how much your account balance is, after you set that. So I know it's like, oh, $5 a day, that's nothing. It seems like nothing, but just when you scroll down, let's see, after 30 days, that $100 turned into let's see, 332.20. And so as you can see, these numbers start getting bigger and bigger. This is a 60-day. Let's see. This one is, so there's a 30-day, there's another 30-day. So you can already see that's almost 1,500 right there. So I mean, it grows really fast. This is your third month. You're already at $6,200. And then here you go. So you start to see, and I know these numbers look crazy right here, but just think about it. Your account is growing, so you can use bigger lot sizes. So you're going to be able to make that money. It's not going to be like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money to make in one day. Like literally in 2 months of me trading Forex, I was already making $700-800 a day. And that's only because my account could handle that. So it's going to be based on your account. So whatever your account size is, then you'll just do a lot size according to that, and that's how you hit those goals. So I definitely say it's important to write down a goal, like write it out. If you don't write it down, you're not gonna do it. Like it's just not gonna happen. So I mean, I definitely want to do everything that I can. I don't know everything. I'm still learning. I think when you're dealing with Forex, you're always learning. So it doesn't matter how long you've been trading, it's always still, new stuff to learn. So we're learning together, but I'm willing to share, what has worked for me, what's, allowed me to be successful. So I just want to share that with you guys. And 2019 is going to be lit. So y'all make sure that, you're ready. You have your accounts, loaded and ready to go. And that's why everybody needs to take the time now to learn the strategies. I'm going to be testing them out, trying different variables so we can make sure that, we can be as successful as possible. I want to make sure that basically every trade you enter, you hit take profit. Like I'm gonna test different variables out. So I'll be spending a lot of time doing that, so I can perfect the strategies. And that way, when January comes, we just gonna kill the market. So that's the plan. I want to do a challenge where we take like $100 to like maybe 5K, since that was like my first goal or whatever. So we'll probably do that. We might have a copier service where like basically my trades, and probably some of Mike's trades, they are copied onto your account. You can set up an account, and basically whatever we enter, it'll be entered on yours, based on your account size and all of that. So we definitely have, a lot of stuff that we are planning for you guys. So y'all stay tuned. Does anybody have any questions or anything they want to discuss or say? Any comments? Nobody? Yeah, y'all are so welcome. Y'all seriously, y'all do not understand. Like all of you ladies have been super sweet, and I gotta be honest with y'all. So I'm gonna tell y'all something. I met Mike I don't know, it's probably been like maybe 5 months ago. Um, I met him about 5 months ago, and this dude, like, he believes in me. I told him my story and everything. And for some reason, he believes that he's like, no, I know you can help some people. Like, I know you can help some people. And so, like maybe 2 weeks ago when this group was created, I literally was like, no, I don't want to do it. He's like, no, I'm going to create a group for you and you're going to help, some women. And I was like, no, 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 I don't want to do that. And he's like, no, you need to do this. And so you guys do not understand how much you are helping me grow, because it challenges me and makes me learn more so that I can share more. So I appreciate y'all just as much, if not more, than y'all appreciate me. Like, it is such a blessing for me to be able to assist y'all. So I mean, I'm gonna keep learning so I can keep sharing, and we're just gonna learn and grow together. So 2019, that's gonna be our year. Like, it's gonna be life changing. So if y'all stay tuned, and make sure, please add women to the group. It doesn't matter if they don't know anything about Forex. That's totally fine. We'll catch them up. So yeah, y'all make sure y'all add people to the group. But if nothing else, does anybody have any other questions, concerns, comments they want to say?
Jamaica,
Yes.
I wanted to ask you, like, in a day, if you want to scalp and you have a pair, like if you scalp only EU, and that particular day is just ranging, because sometimes you have a pair ranging the whole day. Do you go on to look at other pairs and then see if one is in a downtrend or uptrend, and then go with that one?
Yeah, so that's why I like to, like, choose maybe two pair. Like, as if you can find a pair that is, you look at the daily chart, the 4 hour chart, and the 1 hour chart, and it says it's a strong trend, the same trend on all three of those higher time frames, then I'm pretty much only looking at that pair. Like, I'm just gonna scout the 5 minute, the 15 minute, like, and I might enter, some on the 1 hour chart, just take more profit if I have some time, to chart it out. But yeah, if it's ranging too much and it's not too much movement, then yeah, definitely take a look at, another pair. Yeah, so you can scout, pretty much whatever. And I know a lot of people say, can you what sessions are the best? Well, of course, the market moves the most during London and New York, but y'all, I've made money in Asian sessions. Like, I was cooking dinner at 7 o'clock, and I'm like, let me just make some quick money. So I enter a trade, and boom, in like 30 minutes, I made $250. So, you definitely can make some money in the Asian session. You just have to wait for the right setups. Scalping, it does teach you to be patient, because you gotta wait for those setups. It's kind of a little annoying to watch the chart so much, but I mean, if you want to make money that way, I mean, it definitely works. So. But yeah, any more questions?
Will you do a Zoom session on the London breakout?
Yeah, I can do a Zoom. So we'll try to, like, same thing we did for today. We'll just try to figure out everybody, a good time for everybody. We'll try to set up something for next week, probably best for y'all. Like, what days are y'all usually mostly available?
This time 7:30, any day for me is good. So if we can do that again, that'll work for me. Or anytime after that, that's fine.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Does this time work okay for everybody? Evening time? Okay. Yeah, usually evening time is best for me, just because I'm usually pretty busy throughout the day. I'm usually out and about, and then like, after I get my kids, I get them situated, and yeah, I'm pretty much free after that. So 7:30 Central Standard Time. If that works for everybody, we can definitely try to schedule something for next week for that London breakout strategy.
Jamaica, when you fix a time, can you tell me ahead of time? Because I'm in UK and it's 3 a.m. here. So when you just tell me ahead of time, I would like try and wake up or not even sleep and then join in. So just inform ahead of time if you're going to do it, okay?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll make sure we give enough time. I know this one was kind of thrown together, but I just wanted pretty much just a session where we just answer questions. Because I just want to make sure everybody got a chance to talk instead of always typing out stuff. So and let y'all know I'm a real person. So, but yeah.
Can I ask one question? It's about the breakouts. The GDP pairs, do you normally do only GU, GN and G card?
Yeah, usually I stick to those just because I don't want to watch like 6 different charts. It's for me it's just too much because I'm on my phone and my phone screen is not huge. So me generally I'll just stack those 3 pairs. And sometimes I'll just do 2. It just depends. But I just preferably I don't like to watch 6 different charts. If you can, then yeah, definitely you can trade all 6. They usually move together. Sometimes there'll be that exception, but for the most part they move together, so you can trade all 6 if you want. But I just like to do GU, GA, and GC. Those are my favorite. Yeah, and
Okay, thank
for
you.
that, yeah, of course. For that London breakout strategy, y'all, we have been testing a few different things. So probably not next week, but the week after next week, we will show y'all, what we came up with, because we think we found something else that perfects that London breakout strategy even better. Like basically the take profit sit before London session even starts. So something y'all definitely want to keep an eye out for. So stay tuned for that. We just the strategies that I do have, I just want to perfect them and make them the best that they possibly can be, so that we only have to use those 2 strategies to reach our financial goals. Like that's the plan. So thank y'all so much for trusting me. Because I know it's kind of crazy to be like, we've never met her before. We don't know who this girl is, but I definitely appreciate y'all, allowing me to share what I know, But yeah, this will be recorded, and I'll just make sure that I pin it, and then that way y'all can access it if you need it. But is that it? Any more questions, concerns? Well, if not, ladies, I hope that y'all enjoy your weekend, and try to study a little bit if y'all can. If y'all have a few minutes, look over it. Go pick a pair and look for some setups. Just you don't even just like say, okay, I'm gonna look for some sales, and just go through and just pick out sales, because the quicker you are able to identify, the quicker you can get in those trades and make the money and get in and get out. So that's a good thing if you can practice that. But if there's nothing else, y'all have a good weekend, and we'll be back at it for the London breakout on probably Monday. So
Thank you.
yeah, y'all have a good night.
You too. Aloha.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Y'all are more than welcome.
Thank you.
Of course. Good night, ladies.
Good night.
Good night.